everyone has a story as to, why they're here or how they wound up with the challenges that they're facing, and they're all equally important.
And it's like they can make eye contact with me for the first time. And then it's like from then on we're friends.
Everybody here loves me, and I love all of them, and it's very obvious.
I was very sick, and I come here as a patient. I was referred here from the hospital, and so I actually come seeking help, physical help. We had lost our insurance, and we had had insurance for a long time. My husband is an electrical contractor. He worked for himself, and our insurance went from 1 month $360 to the next month $1,100, and we lost it, and then all of a sudden he's in the hospital with emergency appendectomy, and then a month later I'm in the hospital with diabetes and congestive heart failure.
That day I knew I had a lump on the side of my neck, I had a big one on the back of my neck, and I had one in my groin. And I just knew with those three that there was something that I had to do about it.
We had never had to ask for anything. We've always worked, and we always felt like if we could work hard enough, you could work yourself out of anything, and so that's what you do. And we got unable to do that. And so I come here as a patient. And it was a very good experience. It's the best thing ever happened to me.
I went to my car, I just broke down in tears, and I drove here, and I walked in, and I walked in and I saw that they weren't taking any new patients. So I turned around and I walked back out the door. But I was so upset that I walked back in, and I went over to the desk and I said, do you take anybody that was previously a patient? Would you take them in? And she said, let me get Lee for you. Well, that wonderful Lee came down, and he heard my story about what was going on, and he put me in the room so that they could see if I could qualify again. And while I was doing that, he actually went down to Mrs. Stapleton's room and told her about me. And she said, absolutely, I want to see her. I want to see her today.
You talk to these patients, not so much like they're patients, but as if they're friends, as if you've known them for a while. That's one of the beauties of primary care. It's a continuum of care being provided to that patient. So you see them several times, each year, and you get to know them, as a person. So they're not so much a patient, as they are, a friend. And there's a considerable amount of trust that is built up in the process there.
But you have set up a way to get people who do not have the money in to see physicians and to have their medical needs worked on. That's what I think is the thing that impresses me so much with LVIM.
I would come in to sign in at the front desk, and you always have a greeter, and they're always smiling, and they always make you feel like you're so welcome. And I would come in and sign in, and for some reason, I think the Lord puts people in your path, and they're there for a purpose. And every time I come, no matter what day it was, or it was morning or afternoon, this little volunteer was at the window, and her name is Nancy Detmer. And she would say, while I was signing in, she'd say, you ought to come in and volunteer. You'd be really good at something. And I'd think to myself, yeah, okay, and I'd smile, and I'd walk over and sit down in the waiting room, and I'd think, can't she see I'm dying here?
I got a phone call from Dr. Lamb, and as soon as I saw his name on the caller ID, I just knew that, it wasn't going to be good news. And he said, this is Dr. Lamb. I'm sorry, to have to tell you this, but you've got lymphoma. And I started crying. I didn't even know what it was. And I said, I don't know what that is. and he said that it was cancer of my lymph nodes, and I started crying harder. And he said, but it's treatable, don't worry about it. And then he told me that Charlotte already had my name, and that, just to get in contact with Lakeland Volunteers, and that they were going to take it from there, and, I would be treated. And as soon as I talked to Charlotte, she's like, oh, we're praying for you, and I'm going to get you into Moffitt, and don't worry about anything. I'm faxing over all your records, just.
To be able to get, to be able to treat the people who live in our town, who otherwise it would be very difficult, or that it would hold them back forever.
So when I'm with a patient and I'm doing paperwork to get a mammogram, or I'm doing paperwork to get a medication, and I'm talking with that patient, they always hang their head, and I remember doing that. And so I always tell them, the way I come here is I come here as a patient. I hadn't always worked here. And I've been in the same position you're in. I know how this feels, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're having this hard time. And it's like they can make eye contact with me for the first time. And then it's like from then on we're friends. It's not, we're all friends,
The patients, they come in, they're very appreciative, and they know that the individual is here to help them. It's genuine, because they don't have to be here. It's purely something from the heart, giving back. And at the same time, the patients that you're dealing with, they also have something to offer in return. Their life's experience, that you may not know anything about, that you're able to learn from and take and make a part of your own, and to become a better person in general. That's what I want to be.
I like seeing people. I like taking care of people, and that's why I'm here.
It's very obvious when I come in. My husband told me that I was a superstar down here, and I said, well, it's wonderful. They make me feel like that, and I want to do anything that I can to help you guys, because you did everything in the world to help me, because I'm alive today.